The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Austin, Texas has more than doubled year over year.
This is how bubbles are created, right?
Is bubble bad?
But yeah, when it bursts, which it always does. There's going to be a lot of things happening potentially in the real estate side, especially single family residents, where big money is going to start coming in and really pouring it in.
Welcome to the good life.
We are here.
Bow, 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 bow.
Bow, bow, bow. What's up, everybody? Hey.
Man, I was like, when do I push the button? When do I push the button?
There it is. We got the button in. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everybody, to the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I got Kobi in the building. Say what's up, Kobi.
What up, though?
As always, I'm Chris. Guys, we're back diving into how to design your life extraordinary, health, wealth, and all the other things that you need to get to the good life. As always, find us everywhere you listen and watch, whether that be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. But we're back. Another day, another episode 77. We're diving in. Kobi, how you feeling, man?
Ooh, 77. That's a great. Who's that? Is that Luka? Yeah, that's Luka, right?
Luka.
Luka Doncic.
Luka.
Or Doncic. Doncic.
Doncic.
The Don. For the Mavericks. Anyway, I think
is he really? Is he the future? All right, quick time with slime. What's that? What's that? Drink champs. Quick time with slime. Luka, Ja Morant. Who has the better outlook over the next 5 years? Luka, Ja Morant.
Listen, with all the respect to Ja Morant, I do think Ja Morant has Memphis in his palms. I think he's bigger than Elvis. Y'all need to take down those billboards and put Ja Morant up. I'm glad the man got his money, but I got Luka. Luka is I think it's gonna be, he is more prolific in the sense that he is playoff ready, right? So I think his game rises to a different level in the playoffs. And I also think Luka is going to be easier to build a team around because you know exactly what his weaknesses are and you can fill them pretty easily. I think once you give Luka support that he needs, and I really wish what's his name, the Eiffel Tower left Utah to go to Gobert. I wish Gobert had gone to the Mavericks. I would love to see that. I think that's exactly what he needs, a clean up eraser guy in the back. But I got Luka. Who you got?
I got Ja.
Whoa!
Listen. The athleticism, his upside is greater than Luka's upside. Now,
ooh.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna let you speak.
Athleticism wise, right? Just tough on the skill set. Because Luka's got a crazy skill set, right? But he's got that old man game. He's got that old, and so depending on what the game turns to, I really feel like Ja Morant has a better upside in what is going. This kind of younger, high-flying, quick pace kind of style of play. I would take, if we were talking about upside, I would definitely take Ja Morant over Luka. That's my take.
Fair enough. I do feel like Ja Morant is the way he plays is a bit reminiscent, but better. He's a better shooter than D Wade, in my opinion. But he's got the injury-prone gene, right? In a little bit. I don't wish nothing on my man Ja Morant. If you ever hear this, man, that is the dude. Listen, all respect. I just feel like he's got, propensity to be injured a bit more. I'm thinking Derrick Rose. I'm thinking D Wade. I'm thinking, he's real shifty, right? Are the knees gonna hold up? And I also wonder, as Ja gets more money, is his mind gonna be there, right?
Oh, he's good. He's good.
All right, fair enough. I just feel like Luka was born to be a pro. You know what I mean? That man has been a pro since he was like what, 2.5? So I just feel like he's born to be a pro. Once Luka gets in shape, like really gets in shape, I think it's game over for the league. He's doing it now. He's doing it now.
We'll
He's got a
see.
whack body. And for those that don't know, whack body is those that, for everything that you do, you just can't get shredded. And that's okay. But I don't think he needs it, man. And I think that whack body allows him to put a little bit more weight. When he lean on you, you're like, oh, get off. It's kind of like he got like, that dude at football practice. It's like, oh, he's too sweaty, man. He's leaning all on me. Like, oh, get off. Yeah. So
We'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. That's our little basketball take for y'all just at the beginning of this episode, since it's inspired by number 77, Luka. We'll give you that little hot take.
I love it. Not many 77s in the league.
Sean Bradley, take it way back. Way back.
I don't even know if I remember.
You don't even know Sean Bradley. See, I'm a Sixers fan, right? Like back in the day, Sean Bradley, 7 foot. 7 foot. Get out of here with that. 7 foot. Oh, Sean Bradley wound up he played for Dallas, I think. Somebody that's listening to this, put in the comments or hit us up. But like he played for the Sixers. He played for the Sixers. I know for sure when I was a kid, Sean Bradley played for the Sixers. I'm pretty sure he was number 77. We could probably Google it and find out ASAP, so we don't have to wait on somebody to validate that. But I believe Sean Bradley, American basketball player, 7 foot tall center. What do we got?
Let's see.
What do we got?
That man was what? Sean Bradley, tall dude.
Yep.
7'6"?
Told you.
Holy cow. Yeah. I don't know what number he played, but yeah, he did play for the Mavericks. It looks like.
Yeah. Played for the Sixers.
7'6".
Yeah, he's a giant.
He played 44. He was number 44.
Oh, 44. Okay. There we go. He was close to 7'7". There he was close to 7 feet, 7 tall, 7 inches tall. That's what it was.
My gosh. Yeah, that's tall, man. That's crazy.
It's nuts.
Anyway.
It's nuts. Anyways, on today's episode, what are we talking about? We're diving in just kind of like we did last week, guys. Again, now that we're down to Kobi and myself, we're diving into health and wealth because these are two topics that we really think people have to take some time to really focus on in order to put your life in the position to get it to the next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Health, wealth, those two things. It's come out a bunch over the past few years. More information, and you tell me, Kobi, if like this is something. And I know we're gonna dive into some news and some events that are out there, but have you seen health topics or like things around health, new information become more prevalent over maybe the past like 18 months, 2 years, or is that just me paying attention to it over that bit of time? Has it been a recent change? I feel like there's a lot of new information, a lot of different things happening. Is that just us paying attention to it, or is there something actually going on in the health side?
Man, I think it's probably a little bit of both when you look at it. I think it's definitely something going on the health side. If you look at the last 2.5 years, obviously health has been in the forefront of people's mind, whether it be pushed by fear in terms of, I don't want to be ill, I have a family, or I just don't want to be sick, regardless if I have a family or not. And we've been talking about it quite a bit on the news and papers, etc. And I think as a result, a lot more people that I know are definitely paying attention to it. A lot more people are reaching out to me, asking questions in the last 2 years than ever before. I will say this, though. I think with the sort of increase of both awareness, as in people paying more attention to the health side of things, and information, as in we're being bombarded by a whole bunch of information about our health, I think it's more important than ever to have kind of like a BS meter, to have kind of like a filtration net of some sorts, where how you can filter through, right, the information that's coming at you. And I always call that being able to cut the noise, right? There's a lot of stuff coming at us, right, all the time. And not all of it is, I'm not saying it's necessarily bad or good. I'm just saying not all of it is let me speak for myself, for me at this particular time, right? particularly when you look at things like, let's narrow it down a little bit more into like nutrition or food, for example, right? As you know, I always define it as a healthy diet or consumption is is really between the mind, body, spirit complex, this entire thing, and the environment. Because right now, for example, one of the biggest trends I see, whether you're on social, especially if you're social, is this kind of like push dichotomy between, for example, eating meat, exclusively meat, and then vegan, right? And it's like, guys, like, if you tell me, what if somebody doesn't have access to meat somehow, right? Or what if somebody only has access to meat, or what if someone is somewhere in the middle? Depending on your environment, right? You've got to be able to adapt and make the best choice depending on your individual needs. So yeah, without going too much into it, man, I think being able to cut through the noise when it comes to health is more important than ever, because we are being bombarded more than ever with health information.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you brought up something that it's funny. I was going to bring up eventually at some point, but like this extreme, this polar, like you said, like there's this vegan side, then there's this like only carnivorism or whatever that thing is called. And you got people eating just raw liver and like only things that are uncooked, right? And then you got people that are just eating fruit, right? And just only eating fruit. Like there's this whole like broad range now of so much. And I don't remember, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember 4 years ago anything outside of like keto, like vegan, vegetarian, you know what I mean? Like 5 years ago, there wasn't like all of this stuff that's coming out. And that's what it kind of hits me on the money side too, right? We could say, and that's why, well, these two topics, they just go so hand in hand, because I think the same thing about money. We're getting so bombarded with so much information around investing and the market and money and real estate and this strategy and that strategy. And here's how you avoid this. And you don't know this loophole in this. And like everyone's given all this information, and most of the stuff you can't apply right now anyway, right? Like it's just information. So are we at like this place of like information overload with health and wealth?
I was just about to say, man, we're info beast, right? People gorging on information. And like I said, I think one of the most important skills we can develop moving forward is the ability to actually shut things out, right? Because what is all this information if we're not, you said it perfectly, if we're not going to implement it at all, right? I think it's ended up to be one of those, the way I see it is kind of whether you have keto, paleo, whole 30, a gluten-free, you cut off the head of the snake and two shall appear, right? So it's kind of one of those things where things are splintering and breaking into smaller sets, and then one, depending on how they're able to market it, one becomes big and big. But our children will have to deal with more noise than we did, and we're dealing with more noise than our parents did. And I think that trend is only going to continue as we have greater access to information. That doesn't mean that we're getting good information, right? So yeah, we have greater access to information. That doesn't mean that we have good information or we have better information. So I think
we literally just have more. Like
it's just more.
It's just more. That's all.
So it's more garbage, more good. And it's up to us to be able to filter through what's going on. So this is why I think that's why our show is really, or what we do here is really important, man. Which is, well, in a way, I guess some people may say, hey, listen, you added to the noise too, right? But hopefully, we're bringing education in a sense to give you an ability to really filter through a bit better.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. And maybe we can help guide some people that are listening down that path of like, how do you decipher, right? Like, how do you cut the noise? Like, how do you decipher what you should be listening to and what you shouldn't listen to, or what maybe you steer away from? How would you guide somebody down that path for health? Because I'll guide somebody down that path for money, but you guide them down that path. Like, how do you know who to listen to, what you should do, or how to do it? Like, what would you say to somebody like that?
That's a great question, and I think a hard one, but I'll do my best to try to provide some sort of answer here. And I think clarity, the word that comes to mind is clarity. And what I mean by clarity is you have to be clear that first and foremost, what do you desire? What do you want? Because if you don't want it, it doesn't matter. If you don't want it, it doesn't matter. If you don't desire it, it doesn't matter. And I think one of the ways to do that is to first and foremost remove yourself from the noise, right? From all this stuff going on. Let me give you an image that I often think about is when an artist, a writer, an athlete, let's say a performer, right, of some sorts is gearing up for something, they often do what? Remove themselves. They remove themselves from sorry. They go dark. They stop listening to stuff so that they can do what? They can listen to their internal voice. So that they can.
LeBron, I was gonna say LeBron gets off social in the playoffs, right?
There you go.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we can list a ton of examples. World Cup teams, right, are advised to abstain from not just news media, but even things as much as like certain foods, right? As much as even sex and drinking and all of those things, because these things alter our mind, right? They alter our mind, and that includes all this information coming at us. All of a sudden, you read a headline, right? You ever read a headline and like all of a sudden your heart's like, just like, oh man, you're worked up, whether you're upset, you're really happy, you're whatever it is, so that you're being jerked around all the time. So I think removing yourself, right? Stop it. Removing yourself. Removing yourself from.
We needed a pause there. We needed a pause. I was gonna refrain, but I couldn't. There it was.
Taking a minute away to actually figure out what is it that you want. Because I think a lot of times we get confused by, oh, I see this, I want that. No, that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. I'll say that's step number one. And from that point forward, you can create everything else you want to really create.
I love that. I love that, man. Like, again, clarity is where it starts. You've heard us, those of you that have been listening to the podcast for some time, right? You know, we talk about clarity. We talk about awareness a lot, because that's normally the first step in all of our growth, or, you know, kind of getting to the next level, or changing some behavior or habit of ours. So yeah, clarity. And you can't get clarity when you keep getting information, when you keep seeing new things, when you keep getting new images. Like, it just changes how you're thinking about it. So clarity is key. I'll add on my side, again, from a money standpoint, lots and lots of noise. The number one thing I get when I sit down with people for like the first time or the second time, they're normally giving me some information that somebody told them or something that they saw or read. That's normally what the first things I have to clear up with people are, normally those types of things, right?
Hey, what do you think about Bitcoin?
Exactly. Right? Like this type of stuff. These become the questions. You have a hot take, you hear somebody has an investment, you see a Facebook ad somewhere, you happen to be on LinkedIn and see somebody talk about something financially, you're not as familiar with it. You might have heard the term before, but you're not as familiar. And then you start thinking that this might be for you, because now you're like curious. Oh, I don't really know about that. So maybe that's what I'm missing to build wealth, right? That was the missing piece. And we always start hearing these types of things. So from a money standpoint, here's one of the things that I see that happens a lot for people is they listen to the wrong people when it comes to money. I'm sure the same thing with health could be, right?
No question.
But especially with money, like, you're just taking advice from the wrong people. Typically, friends and family. Typically. That's really what it comes down to. And I say this as a financial professional. Yes, I say this as somebody that's been in the industry for some time. So I get a chance to sit down and have that conversation with people. But most people get guided in their financial life from guidance from their family, from parents, from relatives, from peers, close friends of the family, that type of stuff. And that's where kind of we start picking up all of our information. And that's fine to a degree if you take in a little bit of that information because you love them, because you respect them, because you trust them, because you've seen their account, because you've seen, right, whatever they do, and you know that it makes sense, then sure, you can take heed to some of that information. But on the other side, if you've never seen their accounts, and this, I'm talking specifically friends and family, if you've never seen their portfolio and they're telling you how to invest, if this happens a lot, and we love our parents dearly, we love them dearly, they gave us life, right? However, however, if they are not where you want to go financially in life, if they are not there, or they have not, right, pushed or progressed themselves to that place, and they start giving you the financial advice from their viewpoint, you might want to take it with a grain of salt if that's not where you want to be. Now, if parents are super successful, you know that they're somewhere that you want to excel to, then great, take that advice. But I see it happen a lot. And again, no knock on our parents. We love our parents. Everybody loves it, right? I want to give them all a big hug. But just understand, they didn't understand money either. They might not have had the best financial guidance. They were just trying to figure it out and survive also. They were just trying to find the best investment or the safest thing for their family so they could pay the bills also. So that's what they're going to pass down to you. And it's okay if that's what you want to do. But if that's not what you want to do, and you want to really design your life and have an extraordinary financial life that allows you the freedom to do all the things you want, you got to start listening to the people, friends and family, that are already doing that or are a little bit further along. And even then, like Kobi said, if you're not clear on what you want, you might not just want to do exactly what they're doing, because that might not be for you, right? See so many people in families say things like, oh, I'm going to invest in real estate because I saw my uncle or my mom or my cousin invest in real estate. But maybe you don't want to invest in real estate. Maybe you want investments, but that's not the way you want to go. So when it comes to friends and family, we really have to decipher who we're listening to and why we're listening to them, especially when it comes to money.
Factuals. Parents will give advice on everything, right? They're used to doing that. They, for a long time in our lives, they were the greatest source of information. But not everybody is a 100% perfect source for anything. So,
right.
Yeah, I would say, especially when it comes to health and wealth. And on the health side, a lot of the things that you perhaps are struggling with right now, you probably learned from your parents, right?
Big facts. Absolutely.
How after a while they actually start to learn from us, and I think it's only the circle of life, right? They actually start to learn from us. So, hey, want to dive into some of these questions real quick?
Let's talk about them, man.
Are these stories? Hembo's List.
Hembo's List. Oh,
Hembo's List.
That is the title of this
Hembo's
segment.
List. I
Put
love
that
it.
up, and we need the big Hembo's List.
Let's do it for Hembo's List. All right. The average, I thought this was really interesting because this is a place I considered moving to, my wife and I. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Austin, Texas, has more than doubled year over year. And then there's a list of cities where rents have risen. Any thoughts on that? Have you ever thought about moving to Austin, Texas? What are your thoughts about Austin, Texas? Is everybody moving to Austin, Texas?
A lot of people are moving to Austin, Texas. There's a lot of people moving to Texas in general, but specifically Austin. Hot take. It's a bubble down there, guys. It's a massive bubble down there. This is how bubbles are created, right?
Is bubble bad?
But yeah, when it bursts, which it always does, right? And somebody's gonna get left holding the bag. Somebody's gonna get left that just bought that house $200,000 over what it's priced. Somebody's gonna get left with that, and then they got a good 6-7 years of like trying to pull themselves out of being underwater and their mortgage, all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be pretty bad. But that's why rents are going up. It's because, right, the mortgage prices, like the prices of houses have gone up. So then mortgages go up. So then the people that buy in order to rent it out and turn it into some form of of income for themselves. Now they have to raise their rents. And so that's what I mean by that market specifically. And those of you that are listening that are in real estate, you could probably chime in and say similar things around the country, but specifically Austin, I know because I have some connections and some network kind of in that area, and they know that things have gone up too quickly. When everyone, that's how bubbles are created. When everyone leaves New York and leaves California and does all this migration over the past 2 years, plus with the market being at like the height of where it is, it creates bubbles. Like these prices are inflated. This isn't necessarily real. But what's going to happen when the whole thing bursts? I'm not sure. I'm not sure specifically in that market. I'm not sure around the country, but I really think it's a bubble. Will rents go down? Maybe, maybe not. But just the fact that they doubled in a year should tell you guys something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this list here, and it's the only one that's doubled. Right, the other cities on the list, increased by over 52% is Jersey City, New Jersey. I don't know why. 50% Tampa, Arizona, or Tempe. Hey, Arizona. I don't know why. It's too hot. New York, 41%. New York.
Wow.
Salt Lake City, 40%. Long Beach, California, 40%. Wow. I'm surprised by that. And in my hometown, Richmond, Virginia, up almost 36%. Look at that. I guess I'm not too surprised. Richmond is kind of in between, New York and Florida. So, if you're fleeing New York and you want to flee all those northeastern terrible states here. You're not gonna mention anybody.
Relax, bro. Relax.
We're not gonna mention anybody's name. Shout out Philly.
Golly, man. The Northeast is where it's at. Listen,
Northeast
builds character. Shout out to everybody in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Everyone in the Northeast. Pennsylvania, New York, Jersey, go even higher. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont. Shout out to Vermont. Anybody, anybody in Vermont?
I'm gonna let you finish. Bro. But
shout out to Maine.
You just said Vermont and Maine. Stop it. Stop it. Listen, you couldn't pay me to live in any one of those places you just mentioned. Actually, Maine? You could. It would be a really high price. It would just be a really high price.
But Maine's got great lobster. And they're at the top. They're at the tippy top of the United States. You're closer to fleeing the country.
It's beautiful. It's for like 5 days out of the year.
Shut up.
5 days out of the year. Yeah, I'm a Northeast hater. Shout out Boston. Went to school up there, but I don't know, man. Just not a Northeast fan. But
Bill's character. That's why.
Maybe it can be Bill's character. I already had it.
Some of us can hack it. Some of us can. It's okay. Some of us can hack it out here. Some of us need it to be nice all year round for us to have sanity in life.
Yeah. They give you nice weather, horrible weather. You choose horrible weather. I don't know about your decision making skills. You don't have to talk about that. But that's next episode. If you live in the Northeast, we appreciate you. Let us know where you live. Say something, and if you disagree, you disagree. Enjoy your cold and your wet cold
character
weather,
and your character and your heart. In your true heart. That's what
I believe. I'd be willing to bet the Northeast is high in crime. Talk about character. I'd be willing to bet
not more than anywhere else, bro. Next topic.
All right, next topic. Kids don't live in the Northeast. But according to Mortgage Bankers Association, mortgage men hits the lowest level since 2000. Interest 10. Applications for a home mortgage mortgage to purchase a home dropped 7% for the week and 19% lower than the same week in 2021. First and foremost, do you think people should care about this?
Not really. Okay. To be honest, it's a sign of the times. Who cares if people want to buy homes? Well, I mean, technically, if you care about the economy, these are signs. Right, these are signs of a recession, signs of economy slowing down. that type of stuff. So if you want to pay attention to it, sure, but I don't know. Do you want to pay
I would
attention to
want to
this
know
type of stuff?
why. I would want to know why did it drop? You know, is it
I
because the
can,
numbers went so crazy high that now it's actually dropped back to normal levels? Is it because people are now buckling down and don't want to maybe go purchase a new home as they're uncertain about the job market? Is it because prices are just too high, so people aren't buying anymore? They're refusing to buy. Why is it dropped? So that's what I'll be curious
combination,
about.
combination of all of them. That'd be a great poll question, Hembo. Maybe we can put that out. Like, why do you think these things are dropping? But it's a combination of all of them. It's a combination of all of them.
Ooh,
More,
Himbo, put out a poll. I want to know: Have you thought about relocating in the last 6 months,
mm,
or have you thought about purchasing a new house or something in the last? Let's put out a poll like that
yeah,
on
that'd be a
LinkedIn or
good
something.
poll. That's we love to hear that answer. I mean, just knowing the market, right? Like I said, combination of those things, in my opinion, you know, mortgage interest rates are going up, so not as cheap to borrow the money anymore. And that's kind of it's the opposite. You know how when people say stocks are on sale, like you should buy more.
Yeah,
Well, this is kind of like, oh, the price just went up a bit. Like I could have bought it last month for this, but now it's this. So that
yeah.
already gives people like I don't know. Is it real? Like they always question it when it goes up a bit. You know what I mean? So has a lot to do with that part of the interest rates going up. Prices are still sky high, right? Like now again, you're thinking like, is this worth it? Not to mention with the news you hear in the economy, right? Obviously, talks of recession and that fear that gets out into the market about what we need to do, and people seeing their portfolios, their stock portfolios going down.
I thought you said they're polios.
No, I,
Yeah.
don't, I think we beat polio a while ago, didn't we? Is polio still a thing? I
Hembo
don't know.
research. I don't know. I ain't gonna speak on it before we get tackled or something.
I
But
know.
I think so, but I'm not quite sure.
Possibly. But yeah, it's a combination of all those things, man. People are getting a little fearful and they're going to hold on to a little bit more money. They're really going to debate whether or not it's worth doing certain things. Money's not dirt cheap, so it doesn't make sense to refinance or get out of that house right away, or right, like you might not sell it as quick. So now people are actually thinking. That's what happens when the economy slows and it tightens. People start
Right.
going back to thinking and being like, is this smart? It's not just
Mhm.
money flying everywhere willy-nilly and you're just like, oh, more money's coming in, being super greedy. Now people are thinking about it. I'm sure that has a lot to do with why applications have dropped.
Man, that sounds like work. Going back to thinking, huh?
Too much
But
work.
we'll definitely. I think what I've always heard experienced realtors and not realtors, but real estate investors, and there is a difference. If you think about going into real estate, no, there is a difference,
Yes, sir.
um, for sure. But investors is that it's never a bad time to buy if you know how to buy and why you're buying. It's never a bad time to buy. It's only people that are really like deep in these sort of nitty gritties are ones that are either they they're just literally just paying attention because they're in the market, they're in the field, or they're on the verge where a little point here, a little point there makes that big of a difference in their decision as to whether or not to do it. Some it makes a difference in how they do it, not whether or not they do it, but how they do it. That's what I've seen.
Makes
Um,
sense. And you're right that the investor game versus the retail game, just straight, you want to buy a house to live in it or whatever the case is, two completely different things. You're
Very much so.
evaluating two different, right, two kind of different properties or ways to use that property. So if an investor comes in knowing that that property will cash flow, that it'll bring them back a return, well, they'll look at the numbers differently. They'll pay a little bit more than the average family that's just looking to move their primary residence to this next place because they're in the market for it. You know what I mean? Like they're thinking taking a little extra time to be like, is this right? The investors, I've given this take, and we can jump to the next one after this, but I've given this take that if you pay attention to what's happening, big money is coming into the single family and like kind of like duplex type of homes, like, you know, the hedge funds, large, you know, wealth managers, those types of things. Remember, there's only 5 asset classes, you know, maybe a sixth one if you add crypto, but like really only 5. So once cash goes down, which it's been, and obviously inflation's high. By the way, one of the other things that people might not talk about when it comes to inflation is another reason inflation continues to go up is because people are selling off your currency, right? So they don't talk about that a lot. And they're just like, oh, it's like, you know, we're just trying to ease spending or ease, you know, borrowing and stuff like that and spending. Well, also people are selling off the dollar all across the world, right? Like they're selling it. So that's another reason why inflation is going up. So when they sell off that dollar, well, they got to move that money to other asset classes. Real estate happens to be one of those asset classes that is still getting a return for people. And these hedge funds and wealth managers, they have to promise returns. They've promised returns to their investors. It doesn't matter where they're getting those returns. They promise the returns. So you're going to see a bunch of major companies like big, like BlackRock, like these big hedge funds, and well, they're going to start buying up single family residents, right? They're going to start buying up. I saw this take. I don't
Start,
know.
or they're already doing that.
They're already doing it, but like it's going to be well known that that's what they're doing. The banks, right? The banks are going to buy back these homes and not sell them back to you as mortgages because they want you to rent, because that's how they're going to get their return potentially. You know, there's going to be a lot of things happening potentially in the real estate side, especially single family residents, where big money is going to start coming in and really pouring it in. So that's my hot take. Pay attention to it.
Let's pay attention. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So, an increase in a popular supplement landed a man in the hospital. I thought it was just interesting. So I was like, huh, what supplement is this? So after listening to a nutritionist on a popular UK radio show of a private and visit with a private nutritionist, a British man began taking more than 20 over-the-counter supplements every day, including 50,000 IUs, which are international units of vitamin D 3 times a day. This caused the man to essentially, and we got to dive in a little bit deeper to cause what it caused them, but 50 landed him in the hospital.
Why would someone be taking that much? Like, what did he hear? What do you think he heard about vitamin D?
Vitamin D is good for you. You're not getting enough. You should take some supplements for it. Probably that was it, right? That was it. And guys, oh man, I wasn't prepared to give this take here, but I'm gonna have to. My hand has been forced. There's nothing wrong with vitamin D. There's nothing wrong with supplements if taken appropriately for the appropriate reasons. Now, something like vitamin D, if you're not getting enough vitamin D, is very easily fixed. So my first question is, why are you not getting enough vitamin D? Because I think most people know that you can get fairly natural vitamin D from what? Exposure to the sun. Yeah, everybody knows that, right? So why are we not getting enough of it? And can you maybe make a lifestyle change before you start taking these large dosage of supplements? That's point number one. Point number two, supplements are fairly unregulated, right? So I'm not saying that everything that is regulated is necessarily all without fault. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, because it's unregulated, that means anybody can put just anything on the market. And they can write a lot of different things on it that are unsubstantiated, right? So be careful when you're doing that. Number three, with anything that you start, any sort of regimen, whether it's supplements, whether it's exercise, whether it's nutrition, a gradual transition is always, most of the time, best. And I'm not giving medical advice here. I'm just giving my experience. Check that legal box. You already know.
Here we go.
And Because when you gradually transition, it gives your body the time to deal with any sort of shocks, right? And that's where this is. It sounds to me like this man just started taking large dosage of vitamin D supplements, and it caused him to have some sort of reaction to it. What if he had progressed, utilized, taken these 1, 2, 3 points that I just made, and slowly increase his exposure to sunlight while slowly increasing the supplements that he was taking to supplement what he wasn't getting, and then slowly transition into a natural diet of vitamin D. Would this have happened? I don't know. Go ask your doctor. But I would bet to say that that probably would have happened. So anything that you're considering, any sort of transitions, health transition that you're considering making, one, make sure you're talking to the people that you trust. I always say make sure you're talking to people who preferably have done it, including people that you trust. So have a team. I always encourage this, a team of people, not just one person that you listen to, and then be gradual with the transition. All right. So that's what, when I see this, it's like I know so many people. I don't know if you do, Chris, but so many people who they hear something, they see something, they read something, and then the next day, bam, they're taking 50,000 units of it. It's like, why? Why are you doing that?
Absolutely. I see it all the time. Even on the money side, you get one hot tip and you buy $4,000 of Dogecoin.
God forbid.
But
yeah, people are doing it. People are doing that.
I believe it.
Shoot.
Hey, real quick on the vitamin D thing. Real quick on the vitamin D thing, because we know vitamin D you can naturally get from the sun. Is this propaganda as far as like the SPF, the summertime? Like, you know how they've kind of talked to us about like stay out of the sun or sunscreen, like that side. But we know natural vitamin D comes from the sun. Like, what's truth, what's not, what's propaganda, what's like should we watch out for? Like, because I feel like that's something that's out there that might not be true that people are listening to.
I think again, I'm not giving medical advice, but I think you should. Obviously, we know the sun is good for us, right? The human body literally functions like a plant, right? We need air, water, sunlight, nutrients, right? Minerals. So we need the sun. There's no question about that, but we need the sun. This comes back to my previous point in slowly transitioning. We can't go to being indoor office workers, corporate athletes that get almost no exposure to the sun on a day-to-day basis, to now you're spending 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of direct sunlight from noon to 6.
Right.
Of course, that transition is going to cause you some issues. Sunscreen, if you start to look into it deeply, I didn't know anything about sunscreen until I moved to the US. Now you might say, yeah, it's because you're black, blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's possible. However,
that's possible.
However, when you start to look at the statistics of sunscreen, it's not good, right? In terms of all the things that sunscreen is supposed to protect you from, just on pure logic, numbers were at a certain point. Introduction of sunscreen, those numbers increased exponentially over time. Well, if that's supposed to protect you from X, why is X increasing exponentially over time as we use more and more sunscreen? I mean, just on pure logic, that makes no sense, right? No. So, I'm not telling anybody to go out there and, abandon all sunscreen and then come out here and say, hey, this guy told me about. No. But I'm saying gradual exposure to sunlight over time is going to help your body adjust naturally to a point where maybe you don't need to put this synthetic material on your skin to protect you from the skin, because you're going from 0 to beach day, right? Right off the bat. And, and slowly weaning yourself up. I've read and talked to a lot of people who have slowly weaned themselves off using sunscreen, and they feel just perfectly fine.
Do they have sunscreen in Ghana?
I'm sure they have sunscreen in
I mean,
Ghana.
not like do they have, is it like do they use it a bunch? Like is it like kind of like how we talk about it here? Would you think if
No,
you
not
were
even close.
not even
Not
close,
even
right?
close to the way we talk about it here.
Yeah.
But I had when I first came here, I had and I went to the beach. I had folks like just confused. They're like, do you want sunscreen or do you use sunscreen?
Do
Like
you use this?
and then some people that were like insistent, like you gotta use sunscreen. I know you don't do it in Africa, but like here you gotta use sunscreen because here in America the sun is just so much more brutal than the sun. I don't know what sun y'all got over there, right? But the sun we got here, I'm like, bro, you been to Africa? Like, anywhere, the whole continent, anywhere, like
Right.
we got a little sun, right? We
Right.
got a little sun, right? But what is it? It's gradual exposure over time, over generations, right? If you will. But yeah, man, I'm not over here pushing sunscreen on nobody. I'm not a believer. And you say what you want, but that's just not what we do out here.
I hear you. I hear you. I haven't used sunscreen in a very long time.
Yeah. I would encourage you to.
But I get sun often, right? Ever since, again, knowing you, understanding the power of it. And again, you gave a great analogy that the human body is like a plant. I don't think we always think about it in that manner. But real basic things that the body needs. And sun is one of those things. And if you give it to yourself frequently, consistently, you don't have to use the other things. It's doing its job. So
it is. And if you do use sunscreen, more power to you. But do some research and see if you find anything different. And come back and let us know. But do you watch Netflix?
I do not. My wife does a lot, but I do not. Not that much. I can't say I've never seen Netflix, but I don't watch much of anything. So, but she does. Why?
Okay. Because Netflix loses nearly 1 million subscriptions, the largest drop in company. Approximately 970,000 subscribers cancel their membership during the last 3 months. That sounds like a lot.
Does sound like a lot. I've heard a bunch of stuff that like Netflix is not doing well business-wise. Obviously, this is showing the exact same thing.
At all?
Why? That's the question.
Well,
why?
First and foremost, I think we got to consider that Netflix got a huge boost during the last, year, 2 years, 2.5 years, right? Everybody's at home, everybody's watching TV, everybody's doing whatever. Huge boost. I think that's decreasing and wearing off. Secondly, I think, might be guilty myself, but hey, man, people get wise. It's like, wait, you got a Netflix, you got a Hulu, come on, man, let's swap, right? So I think multi-users, which I think people are going to fight this if they do try to do it, but I think eventually they are going to try to crack down.
I feel like they already did. I feel like they already did. Yeah, I feel like if we looked it up, they just recently did something where they're going to figure out if you have multiple users or they're going to charge you an extra amount or something. Like they were already on that, right? Like they're already cracking down. But that also, again, goes to showing that like probably they're not in the best financial place, right?
Right.
And now they got to start looking at all of these ways that people have been kind of skimming off the top and sharing all the logins and all that stuff. Now they're going to try to come crack it down because they're losing money and they're losing subscribers. I really think people just have too many options. I really just think that, right? Like you got to remember, again, very similar to what we've just been talking about in the health space. And there's just all this information over the past 5 years, 4 years, or however, there's a time that it wasn't there. Remember, Netflix was like it for a long period of time. Right. They had all the money, they had all the new shows, they had all the Netflix originals, they had everything. And now it's hard to keep up a bit. It's like, like my wife's always like, I see a new free subscription like Hulu and then Paramount and then Peacock and then Tubi and then and then right. And it's just all these, And
wow, that's a new one to me.
Tubi. So we got another TV, and it came with our Samsung TV. Tubi is free. Like I don't even think you pay. I don't even think you pay for it, and it has a lot of. I feel like Tubi might even have live TV. I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of it, but like they've got their own original stuff. So everybody's just copying the model.
Yeah.
And Netflix is now going to become the loser, right? Like when you're the big dog, everybody comes in to try to take your market share. And now it's, what's it called? The death of 1,000 cuts or whatever. Like people just keep coming in and just, oh, well, we're original now. No, we're original. No, we're going to take our stuff off Netflix. You can only get it on Paramount. Oh, now you can't get it. It was just a matter of time, especially if it's going to be free for a lot of platforms. And Netflix wants to raise their prices and cut down on like the amount of people you can use. So there's not a good place.
I think this is something we'll have to revisit because I think the story is still developing as to, I'm curious. I have so many follow-up questions, who really has the power? Is this the network, the providers? Is it the content owners or content makers? Who really has the power in this thing? I think that's a long conversation, and we'll see kind of how things develop over the next year and a half. But we'll be here to stay.
That's right.
And with that said, I got one more topic I want to end up with, man. It's kind of more like a statement than a topic. So I've talked quite extensively, or probably ranted extensively, about the food pyramid, right? And I'm looking at this, and I hope my alma mater, Tufts University, does not give me cause to pause here, but it sounds like they're coming up or working on what's called the food compass. All right, and it says here, and I'll give you some info real quick. Food Compass is a novel nutrient profiling system developed by researchers at Tufts University. By evaluating foods across 9 domains and using a unique algorithm to determine a score, we can assign a Food Compass score, or FCS, between 1 and 100, with 100 being the most healthful to nearly any food. And these scores will be used by numerous ways, included internally by food manufacturers to improve formulation, or by consumers to inform food choices. Do you think they get it right, or do you think it's more of the same propaganda being pushed out?
Propaganda.
Oh,
Next.
man. I was nervous. I was nervous about this. I was nervous. Tufts, come on. And already, you might be right, because already I saw a little graph. Frosted mini wheats, Lucky Charms, and ice cream are better for you than eggs, whole milk, and ground beef.
Where is this from?
Let me give you that again. This is from the compass, right? The compass that we're talking about is ranking frosted mini wheats, Lucky Charms, and ice cream are better for you than eggs, whole milk, and ground beef. Listen, y'all. Tufts University, I'm a proud jumbo. Please hit me up. I got some comments.
They need some guidance, bro. Hit them up. They need some guidance.
Yeah, please, let me get involved in this. Tufts, listen. Let me get involved in this. Come on now, pull me in. I'll even work for some frosted mini wheats. Now, I'm just playing.
Like that just sounds crazy, and I don't know what basis they're gonna, because it's made out of whole grain, or like, again, think about it. Like that's so contradict. They said ice cream is better for you than whole milk. Isn't ice cream made with whole milk?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. See, yeah, man.
Huh?
See, Hembo, clip this. On so many levels, this nutrition thing gets more and more and more confusing, because you can find whatever belief you want to hold about food. You can find research to back it up. Guaranteed. Whatever belief you want to hold, you can find research to back it up. That doesn't necessarily mean it works, and it doesn't necessarily mean it works for you, right? And this is where people are confused. So we've got to learn to cut the noise.
That is the message. That sums it up perfectly, because that's where we started. Got to cut the noise. There's so much. There's
Look at
so
that.
much out there. Look at this. Like that is the key. We can't actually believe that just from that
Frosted
statement.
mini wheats, Lucky Charms,
Lucky
and
Charms,
ice cream.
Come on.
Listen, it's
Tufts.
delicious. It's delicious. Don't get me wrong. You know,
mean-
I'm a recovering sugar addict. I got it. Like, it's good. It's good stuff. But then eggs, whole wheat, and ground beef, you know, we gotta come on now. Come on now. You know, come on.
We gotta have
We
some more
can't do this.
conversations. We gotta have some more
Yeah.
conversations about this. I think that's where we're gonna end it off on that note tonight. Episode 77. You guys got our take on this health and wealth side of things, what we're seeing out there in society, what's happening in the news, what's going on in research with ice cream and whole milk and Lucky Charms. Get a chance to see what's happening in the stock market, or get a chance to see what's happening in the real estate market. We're talking about a bunch of stuff, but no, once you are aware, once you pay attention to this type of stuff, once you actually get to a place where you can cut the noise, where you can get away from the distractions, get some clarity on what you want to make happen in these areas, and then start finding the information to support it, finding the people to help you along the process, that's how you'll start designing the life that you want and getting to the good life. It's a good show, man.
That's it. That's it. Hopefully you grab something. Guys, you are invited to join the show, to add your 2 cents, and look forward to coming back here every week and chopping it up with you guys.
That's it, guys. So until next week, make sure you find us everywhere. Like, subscribe, do all of those things. Share this episode with somebody that will love it or hate it. All press is good press, right? Until next week, we're out of here. Have a great week, guys. Take care.
Peace.
Welcome to the good life.